Jonathan's just adjusting it so that way. So your camera's right there with your picture.
Gotcha.
So I tell people either talk to me or talk to that little tiny
Screen.
camera screen. Yep. Talk to the big screen, then they're going to get your side profile.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so just kind of keep a knuckle away, and then you're good. Cool. And about 15 seconds.
Sounds great.
And 10.
Horsley Home Inspection. Horsley Home Inspection. Welcome back, everybody, to Guest in the West show. Sherman here with Mutual of Omaha. Excited to have Andrew from Horsley Home Inspections. So, Andrew, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks that might not know you out there?
I am Andrew with Horsley Home Inspections. We help people find out about that new house they're looking to get into. Let them know if there's any pitfalls. You know, any good relationship, you want to test drive it, we get in there, we let a test drive it for you, find out what's going on, and let you know about it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, right? So, buying a home, biggest purchase for most people their entire life, should they have a professional come check it out. So, what got you into the home inspection business?
So I come from a very technical background of being in the oil and gas manufacturing side of things. So I have a really strong understanding of how things are built and engineered, but I also come from what I like to call is farmer smarts. So I'm not an engineer by trade, but I know how to explain things that an engineer comes up with into a way that people can understand. And there's more to just explaining things than dumbing it down. It's explaining it the right way that someone can understand. And that's what I really enjoy about my job.
Yeah, and so a lot of times then for you, going into a house, why would someone want a house inspection?
So the average person when they're buying a house, they're going to spend maybe 15, 20 minutes looking at it, looking at the layout, see if they like the colors and the paints. I'm going to spend 2 to 3 hours in that house looking at it. I'm going to look at things you're not going to be thinking about it, and you really shouldn't be thinking about it when you're looking at a house. Does the AC drain right? Are the shingles in condition? Are they installed right? Is that glass in the shower tempered in case you fall down and break it? Things like that you're probably not going to think about that I think about all the time.
Yeah. Well, and then when you're doing that kind of analysis to that kind of detail, it requires you to be able to see all those details that the average person just isn't going to be thinking about, or nor should they, right? And that's the beauty of using a professional to have them come in and check out those things. And so a lot of times then when someone like you can inspect a house, you can identify things that maybe really should be updated, and that can then be part of the negotiation, if you will, in the close, right? Is that kind of how people end up using the inspection that they get from you?
Yeah, that's often how it happens. You know, depending on the age of the house you're buying, you may have older mechanical systems that you can come to the deal and say, you know what, we'd like to have this changed out. That's kind of between you and your realtor to decide how you want to use that to bargain with. You might take the house as. People ask me all the time, did that house pass or fail? There is no pass or fail. It's only what you decide to love with that house.
And then what about if someone's going to sell their house? Is it valuable for them to have an inspection to see what kind of inadequacies there might be in their current home?
You know, that's a great option. You can have your house pre-inspected before you list it. If you look at, people get sketchy with that and they think that's going to be a negative. But if you look at it, they're going to have that house inspected any way you slice it.
Yep.
So you're going to go through the option period, you're going to put a contract in, you're going to tie up that house for a couple of weeks, then they do the inspection, then they find something that scares them off, versus you can come with that to the table and say, these are the issues already, we're fixing this one, we're going to leave this one the way it is. This is what you're getting, this is what it's going to be. You can bring in another inspector, but they're going to find the same thing. And that way you're taking all that unknown variable out, and you're controlling the transaction the whole way through as the seller.
And so a lot of times then from that inspection perspective, does it allow someone, let's say they've lived there for 20 years, does it allow them then to know that, hey, I might be a little bit dated on some of the things that I have, and it brings it maybe to fruition that, hey, let me update that first before I put it out of the market?
It sure does, especially things like air conditioners. If you have an older unit that's on the older Freon style, there's really no point fixing it. You're better off just replacing the whole system because it's so expensive to fix it. And that's going to be a big turnoff because it's Texas. It's hot all the time. We use ACs all the time.
Yeah, I was literally using my AC last night. Outside it was like 55 degrees. So it does. The heat just permeates our community. And so do you give the advice then to the person that's decided to have the inspection done, the buyer or the seller? to be able to make sure that what's my trade-off here, right? So for your example, I need to replace if I'm going to buy this house and you say, hey, you know, that's a pretty old AC unit, probably needs to get replaced. I could then either buy it myself, or I could put that as part of my agreement to buy the house, so long as that thing's been replaced.
Yeah, so the best way to look at a home inspector is we're like general physicians for your house. You know, you go in the doctor for a checkup and says, you know, Sherman, I feel this lump on your throat. I think we need to have that checked out. That's definitely something we should look at. I know enough about the human body to point you in the right direction to the right specialist. I'm the same way with the house. I get in there, I know enough about all the mechanical systems and the building sciences to go, you know, we need to have this air conditioner looked at. It's not working right. I can't tell you exactly what's wrong with it because I'm not a licensed air conditioning specialist, but I can tell you there's definitely a problem and you should have it looked at, because that can be a big expense.
Gotcha. So you can really help orchestrate to the professionals that they need to reach out to.
Exactly.
Perfect. And so I know that you're been a member of the Houston West Chamber of Commerce. The nice thing is that Andrew is also an ambassador with the Houston West Chamber of Commerce. Left his badge in the truck. Now, it wasn't a requirement, just so you know, if those listening on the podcast or show, it wasn't a requirement to wear that today. So tell us a little bit about why you decided to be a member of the Houston West Chamber of Commerce.
Well, first of all, it's one of the friendliest chambers I've ever visited. Second of all, the chamber is great. You know, if you've ever lived in a small town, everybody knows you. Well, we live in a big town of a million people, which is great for opportunity, but it's hard to be known. And what the chamber does is it makes a big town into a small town, because there's a group of people that are going to get to know you. I know what you do, you know what I do. You know, I'm always on the lookout for someone that might need you, and the people in the chamber are always on the lookout for someone that needs me.
Yeah, that's great. And is there anything that you're kind of excited about that you're doing over there at Horsley Home Inspection that you want to be able to make sure that the audience is aware of?
You know, we're excited for the summer season. A lot of people like to move in the summer, so we're excited to get there and look at different houses, and we get to see something new every day, and we never know what we're going to find.
That's wonderful. Well, great. Now, Andrew, for those that are listening on the podcast, what's the best way for them to be able to get in touch with you, either a phone number or email address, and just spell it out for those that are listening? Best
phone number to contact me is 713-732-7149, and it's Andrew, ANDREW, at HORSLE homeInspection.com.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again for taking the time, Andrew, to share your story here on the Guest in the West show. For those of you that are members of the Houston West Chamber of Commerce, remember, you can always find Kathy and Andrew by going to the hwcoc.org and go to member and the online directory, and you can either search them through their business or their contact information in the search bar. So it makes it very easy for us to be able to reach out to various members, especially when there's different needs that we have, that we can connect them. Just like as Andrew mentioned, his role is to be able to diagnose what's going on in the house. What a great way he can open up his own personal network and professional network for those that need that kind of assistance. So really excited for what's going on. I want to thank again Jonathan and Juan here at Now Media Studios and making this available to us to be able to present and share the stories of our members here at the Houston West Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank Kathy and Andrew in sharing their story with us and taking the time to be able to do that this morning. And again, lastly, I want to thank Devin for all our hard work over at the Houston West Chamber of Commerce and helping organize this and make it happen. So thanks again, everybody. We appreciate you listening, and that's a wrap. Sherm's out. All right, man.
All right.
That went great.
Thank you. Try to avoid the filler words.
That's perfect. Perfect.